Hi, welcome to Sue and Spanky. You may wonder why we're sitting together. It's because my Rodecaster Pro is still effed up, being worked on. I'm really scared I'm never going to get it back because they have not reached out to me saying they received it.
We also are sitting together because we love each other.
Love you.
And Frankie.
He's licking. Frankenfruit. We often sing about our dogs as if they are the creators of the world. We call Winston Boonga. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense.
It's always been the case.
But a common melody that they hear is Boonga and Frank.
Frankie and Boonga.
Boonga and Frank.
It's to the tune of Max and Ruby, for those of you who caught that.
Frankie and Boonga. Boonga and his little brother Frank.
Now Winston's looking at you because he hears his name.
I love them both. Mississippi Boom. Frankie and Boonga. Anyways, that's not what this is about.
The drinks for this week, you want to get into those?
Yeah.
Picked them out. They're called Clearly Canadian.
I feel like I've seen these before. I've just never drank one.
You know, I actually got the lowdown on them from the guy at the bank.
What?
I was getting money at the bank. This was months ago.
Was it the same guy that was like wanting us to talk to him about financial stuff?
Yes, the same guy.
He's so weird.
He's very friendly, but
if you're listening to this, you're nice weird.
I saw him drinking one of these Clearly Canadians, and I was just casually. He was being friendly, saying something, and I was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "That's an interesting drink," and he said, "Yeah." He was like, "These are those flavored waters. They were really big when I was in high school." And he was like, now they're back. They were gone for a while, and now they're back. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe I'll try them one day.
He's so peculiar.
Never thought I would try them, and now here I am on a podcast where we try drinks. And I was like, I gotta get.
We love glass water though because we stayed at the Waldorf Astoria, and they had glass water, and that's where we discovered our love for glass water. It wasn't sparkling; it was just Evian in a glass bottle, and Cheers. It was so good. And we were like, we had already checked out. We were like waiting on our ride to go to the airport. We're like, can we have more water? And they gave it to us.
They'll load you up on water.
The luxury. It was also the Trump Hotel before it was the Waldorf. The spa, not worth visiting. The spa experience was honestly horrible.
The spa was so mid. Okay, Winston, you're in my arm room there, buddy. And you're going to have to move.
This is really good.
Mine's good. What flavor did you get?
Wild cherry.
Okay, I got blackberry. Or I'm sorry, I got
was grape.
Mountain blackberry. No, but it's really good. Winston, you just
Mine's called wild cherry.
For a wild lady.
That's weird.
Sorry if we seem a little tired. We just came off of a live. And it seemed to go very well.
I thought it was so much fun. It was so funny, like, the camaraderie.
Well for Wayne.
The camaraderie outweighed the negativity this time, and it's always a good live when that happens. Sometimes the negativity just pours. But today it didn't, and it was really good. And it was like, it made it worth doing to me. I do it on Sundays because it defeats the Sunday scaries. Like, you know, people usually go back to work on Mondays that have normal jobs. Not us. We're in the service industry, both of us are, in some type of way. So, the dogs are licking my legs again. They always do this. Anyway, we're in the service industry, so we kind of work random days, never the same days every week.
If we're off on weekends, it's just happenstance.
And it's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
So I get the Sunday scaries when I have to go back to work after a large break, but
it's weird because I've never had anything that I would typify as anxiety or nerves or anything, but the feeling I had on a school week, which I didn't hate, I didn't dislike going to school, I enjoyed it, I have no complaints whatsoever. But the dread that I would feel on a Sunday night, there was something about a Monday with 4 days left in the week, totally fine. But a Sunday night was like stress.
I agree. Just the anxiety. I remember you telling me about that when you were a kid and you didn't understand what it was.
I had no idea.
So sad to think about. But yeah, that's what we just did. But we're trying to bring the energy. We just want to keep it authentic and real. I really want my humor to come out. It's hard for me to be myself in front of people, and that's why it's easy for me to be Sue because it's not me. So like this is a challenge to myself to like just be me, be true to myself. So, and I think Taylor could say the same, but Taylor honestly has always been like, he just always has seemed like he's comfortable in his own skin ever since the first day I met him, which is something that we were actually wanting to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really don't know why.
Like, he just doesn't give a shit.
Just have a lot of, I guess it sounds bad if you say that I have confidence, but that's the only word I can think of to describe it. I don't think of myself as an arrogant person, but I just genuinely am pretty comfortable with, just who I am. You getting the ASMR for the metal on glass?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Hope they can hear us okay.
I wish I could have got the ASMR from opening it, because it made this really satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. Well, and that kind of ties into how we met, because I approached you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like, and I blacked out during our conversation because my social anxiety is really high, especially in environments that I've never been.
Mm-hmm.
But you are the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of vibe wherever you're put.
Try to.
But he talked to me about my Chuck Norris folder.
We were at RA training in college, being trained on how to, what do RAs even do? I don't know.
I don't even remember what the training was.
No. The thing about RA training where we went to school, the RAs, which is resident assistant, they live in the dorm for a free or a greatly reduced rate. So basically you get your housing. And they assist residents typically who get locked out or need to be plugged up with resources like tutoring or where the health center is or the library or stuff like that. So you're basically just like someone who's been on campus for a little while and can help people pretty generically getting settled in. But our RA trainings were everything from like suicide prevention or...
Which they showed us... Never mind.
We would do suicide, what was called QPR, which was where we would try to assist people in crisis, which is very important, all the way down to what we had a whole class we had to do every single year. It was like an hour, 45 minutes or an hour, and it was to do with what we would do if we saw people pouring things down the storm drains.
Only rain down the drain.
Only rain down the drain. It was this extremely active...
I said that today, this morning, actually, because you put masking tape down the toilet.
It wasn't masking tape, it was plumber's tape, and I put it in the toilet. But that's besides the point, okay? We had this woman who would come every single year and talk to every single semester, actually. Because we had training every semester. The only rain down the drain. She would tell you, hey, if you see someone putting car wash fluid or beer bottles or whatever down the storm drain, you need to call us immediately and all this. And we did that every month. I mean, not every month, every semester. We would do things as important as suicide prevention, as silly as what goes down the storm drain. So, RA training was just a really mixed bag, to say the very least. And it was in this mixed bag that I met the love of my life, the beautiful Miss Sabra.
Cue that, like, dreamy filter on TikTok right now. Anyway.
Shoot. It's a good thing it's not a real candle.
Tell them what you, like, I want you to describe it in your own words, like, what brought you to say something, like, tell me everything about, like, whenever you first noticed me.
We were at the training, and I saw you, and I remember what you were wearing. You were wearing a white top and dark pants.
See, you always remember stuff like that.
And I thought, man, that's a really pretty looking girl. And I thought, I ought to go up and talk to her. And I was like, well, what would I talk about? And I was like, well, I could talk about RA stuff. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that because, that'd be boring as heck. So I noticed you were holding this Chuck Norris jokes folder. And I wasn't even thinking like, oh, I'm going to go hit on her. I was like, oh, she's a pretty girl. And then I thought, oh, she's new too, so I'll go say hello. And I went up and I told you, I like your folder. I actually have Chuck Norris. I grew up with Chuck Norris joke posters in my room.
Yeah.
I got them at Walmart. And you were like, oh, this is my mom's folder. I think she got it at Walmart. And I was like, yeah, it's cool. We just chatted about that. And I was like, well, it was nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And that was really the extent of it. I really was very impressed with you. But I didn't.
But why?
I didn't think, oh, well, this is a romantic interest.
I vaguely remember the conversation, but I can't remember what you looked like, what you were wearing, what your voice sounded like, nothing. And I don't mean that in an offensive way.
I don't take it that way.
I just don't remember anybody, really, besides Greg Pateris.
Yeah, good man.
Yeah.
Excellent man. But yeah, I don't know. There was just something about the, that made me want to talk to you some more. And we started hanging around and going out. The rest is history.
That's so sweet. But like,
Mm-hmm.
so you told the girls I worked with that I caught your eye.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And then they told me that somebody had a crush on me, but they wouldn't tell me who for like a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hung out.
We went to Starbucks.
Well, yeah, we went to Starbucks, and they spelled my name wrong. They put Sar, and so he called me Sar over text.
SARH.
Became my nickname, Sar. We didn't date for quite some time, but we were like basically dating.
We took it slow.
Yeah. We had Valentine's Day. You got me that beautiful orchid that lived for such a long time.
I did, didn't I? And you got me 30 packs of gum.
He used to chew the Trident tangerine gum. Was it mango?
I think it was Mandarin. I think it was Mandarin orange. I think
it was like the orange pack of the
citrus.
Yeah.
So good.
It
I actually
good.
had a piece of that today. Ralph gave me a piece. My uncle.
That's all he would chew. That's what he smelled like.
I would double up on pieces. You got to chew 2 pieces at a time. It's good for the jaw.
He was really weird, honestly. Like, he had a lot of quirks.
Was.
You still are, but you're less weird now. But
thank you for that.
maybe it's just because I'm used to you. I don't know. But he had the best room. Like, his dorm was so stacked. It was such a cool dorm.
Really?
Loved hanging out over there.
I had the futon.
Yeah, the futon was cool.
I had
It
a
just
futon and a
it was just a
bed.
good ambiance.
I had a good.
You had a big fridge.
Did have a big fridge.
And I've honestly never met someone as sincere as Taylor and as helpful. Like, he genuinely, I think how he shows love, his love language, like, of how he expresses love is acts of service, and that's actually, like, my receiving. And also, quality time is also my receiving, and he likes to spend time with the people he loves as well. So I think that's why we're so compatible, because our love languages kind of, like, mesh. His is words of affirmation, and I do compliment you sometimes, but I don't do it as much as I should. But when I say something, I mean it. If I said it all the time, it would be like, whatever.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So that's basically, like, our story. But we did break up for a time, so we are exes. I married my ex.
That's true. That's true.
We broke up out of the blue. I don't know why. We were having a great date.
We were both growing, and I think maybe we need to grow apart for the time.
Yeah. Which
back.
I hate.
Yeah.
I hate because there's no way to know what could have been.
No.
But I just think I made a mistake. But
look at us now.
Yeah.
Married, wiener dogs, house, podcast.
I reached out to him on Snapchat one day. I just thought of him. I was thinking of him heavily that day, actually. And I was like, I can't not. Which was super... We were talking about how, like, I'm shy. Was super out of my character. I never reach out to anybody first, really.
Yeah.
Unless I'm super close with you. I think there's a handful of people that I do that with. And you Snapchatted me back?
I did.
So
we talked about Disney Plus. We talked about top Disney movies.
Yep.
Top movies we were interested in watching on Disney Plus. That was right when it came out. And I said Emperor's New Groove.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very slept on.
It's so good.
It's Disney, right?
It used to come on at night, like when they would have the Disney movies at night.
Yeah, it did.
And that was one of my favorites.
You look at the voice cast of that, though. It's got John Goodman, who plays Sully in Monsters, Inc. It's got David Spade from Grown Ups, you know?
Yeah.
And it's got Patrick Warburton from Seinfeld. It really has a hilarious cast. It's an ensemble cast. That movie's slept on so much, and I will go to my grave saying that. We need to. And then they made Kronk's New Groove, the sequel, which is still not bad.
It's pretty good.
I mean, sequels are almost never as good as or better than the originals, with a couple of glaring exceptions. But Kronk's New Groove was at least decent. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
And we ended up going on a date to Demas's, like a surprise date that wasn't necessarily a date, but it was...
More like a catching up.
It's a catching up. We wanted to meet in person and hang out.
We shared our trauma.
The
rest is history.
That was crazy.
That was a lot, yeah.
And we wore the same outfit. Like, we both wore, like, skeleton
Without thinking.
Hoodie? I wore a hoodie, you wore a shirt, but it was like this, and it was black.
And we both wore a jean jacket over top of it.
And then black pants.
And black pants.
And boots.
And boots. We both wore boots.
Yeah.
And the next time we went out, we also matched again inadvertently. Although I can't remember how. I'm trying to remember. I'm racking my brain.
It was wild.
Yeah, you don't see that.
Random note, but my burps are insanely loud sometimes. My grandma's are as well, and my grandma can do the Sue voice perfectly, like, not on purpose.
I've never heard your grandmother burp.
She burps all the time.
Really?
Yes.
Not around me.
If she drinks something carbonated, she'll burp.
She did do that. We were there recently, and she did the Sue voice and knocked it out of the
She
park.
knocked. It was identical to mine.
I had to do a double take.
But that makes the reason I'm bringing that up is because I feel like we have some kind of throat, anatomy that's similar, and I think that's why I can sustain it for so long, and I think that's why my burps are so burpy.
Well, you know what's funny? You mentioned that, and you say, "Oh, I think I have a throat anatomy," and people probably discount that and think, "Oh, you're so full of it." But I was reading a biography about Steven Tyler, the lead singer for Aerosmith, and he had. I can't remember what was wrong with his throat. He had something where his throat was messed up and he had to go to the doctor. And the doctor was looking at his voice box and was like, he was like, I've never seen a voice box this large. He was like, the average voice box is a certain size. And he was like, very rarely does it deviate from this size. And he was like, your voice box is at least twice as large as the average voice box. And in addition, your vocal cords connect in such a way that I've never seen. He was like, you genuinely have 1 in several million throat and voice. He was like, so for you to have that and then to turn around and become a professional singer, it's no wonder that, obviously talent plays into it, but he was like, it's just crazy that you have a throat and voice that is just tailor-made to be a singer.
We've talked about this before, too. You brought that up because I was like, do you ever wonder, not to make it deep,
No, it's fine.
to make it deep,
but
I was like, do you ever wonder if you're just not living the life that you were meant to live? Like, what if there's something that you would just be so good at that you've not discovered and you will never discover, and you're going to live in failure and you're going to die in failure? Like
Michael Phelps, have you heard the statistics about like his body? Like they were like his arms, like compared to any other body, his arms are too long, his chest is too short, his legs are too long, like he's just
out of proportion.
A freak of nature, out of proportion. Like if he played basketball or football, he probably would be like, it would take a lot for him to be good. But as a swimmer, you could not breed a better swimmer in a lab than Michael Phelps. And for him to have just stumbled into the water and decided to swim from an early age is it's
crazy. It's like fate. Wow. That was funny. But yeah, like I think that my Sue thing is similar to that.
I do too.
It's so stupid. It's not like being an Olympian swimmer or being a like major award-winning singer. Don't get me wrong, I'm not that delusional, but that's my thing, I think. Other people can do it too, but the fact that I can sustain it for so long is what I'm talking about. But
I gotta say, this is good.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish this water.
You wanna try mine?
Is it grape at all?
No, it's blackberry. You don't like grape flavored things. Grape. You also don't like citrus flavored things a lot of the time. Made a fart noise for those of you if the mic didn't pick it up, that was a fart noise.
Anyway, let's talk about our love story more.
Okay.
So we went to the Demas's date, and then we like texted and we're like, was it a date or not? And then we decided it was a date, and then we just dated. And
then our second date, and listeners, let me know how I did on this one. She says, hey, why don't you come over, we'll watch a movie. I was like, okay, cool. So I thought, I'll need to think of a good movie for this one. And I thought, and I came over with the DVD version, extended version of Point Break with Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves. And we watched it, and
it was alright.
I like to think it was a fantastic date.
It was a good date, and Walt kept coming in my room.
Yeah,
our little brother. At home with my mom. I was only 21. Or was I 22 at the time?
I think you would have been.
I think I had a birth.
It was 2019.
Yeah, I was 22.
So yeah, barely. So yeah, we watched Point Break, and just she walked me out, and the rest is that was our second date, and the rest is sweet history.
So really, we've been together going on 4 years in December.
Yeah. Well,
or November.
Yeah.
If you count like the time we started dating.
Yeah. Which I do, of course.
Me too. And we dated for 6 months prior to that. I think it was about 6 months. So I just feel like I knew you well the second time we dated. It was a different type of dating because you were my ex, so I knew everything about you.
Truth.
It's kind of like we just picked up where we left off.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
And then we got engaged. Do you want to tell them about that?
Yeah.
You kept telling me, I will not be surprised when you propose. You were always on your toes. You asked me every day, is today the day?
I know.
Is
that
this
was
the day?
He would get down on one knee and tie his shoe in restaurants or like in random places.
That
and
was so fun.
I would get so excited, and he would be like, shoes ain't tied. And I'd be like, you freaking bastard.
I'd be like, why don't you get dressed up? We'll go out to dinner. And she'd be like, okay, cool.
You were an asshole. And then I didn't look. I had sweatpants with a hole in them, covered in dog hair.
The day that it happened, yeah.
My chewed up Birkenstocks that Winston chewed up.
I tricked her. I told her I was going to my old side job at the lake, and I said, oh, I forgot my lunch. Can you bring me lunch?
I almost DoorDashed him some food.
Yeah, you did.
Because I had school and I didn't feel like driving out there.
But you did anyway.
Yeah.
And that's when I pulled the trigger on it.
And you had your buddies there. It was a little bit embarrassing, but I get it.
They took pictures.
I don't want to look at the pictures because I was in a bad outfit.
You will one day.
It's still sweet.
Do you know where we went after that?
We went to Dolly's. We went to the White Limousine.
Dolly's Rooftop Bar in
And
Nashville, Tennessee. And it was a huge mood.
It was a mood. And
fantastic. Well,
going back to the engagement, you got down on your knee and I was like, he always does this. And I said that to your friends and they were like, oh, And then you said, I don't even know what you said. I was quoted, like, stop.
I quoted one of my favorite shows, Hot Ones. Yes. And I said, Sarah, do you know why they call it the last stab? And she said, what? And I said, it's tradition around here to put a little extra on the last wing. You don't have to if you don't want to. But will you marry me?
God.
Yeah. That's what was said.
He used to say that all the time, though, so I had no idea
that show.
That he was going to say that. It was so silly.
Honestly, I selfishly want your fame to get you to the point where you're on Hot Ones.
That would, if I make it on Hot Ones, I've made it.
That would be
100%.
So awesome.
100%. I don't know if that'll ever happen.
This camera. Tell the people what you got going on in your life. Oh my God, I would die. I feel like we'll get there, hopefully, one day.
Maybe.
Just to go on the show would be such an honor.
But that's basically us summed up. We got married in January of 2023.
And
2022, I don't know why I said 2023.
It snowed on our wedding day. And in Tennessee, especially kind of like middle Tennessee where we're at, it does not snow hardly at all. Like you'll go a whole year and it won't snow. And you'll be like, I guess it just didn't snow this year. And up in Kentucky, it snows all the time. And down in Georgia, it never snows. Here, it's pretty... It may snow 10 times in a year. It may snow 0. But the day that we got married, it started to snow. Which is indicative of a warm marriage. Yeah, I think so, and I think it's a good sign. Right after our wedding, we went on our honeymoon. We drove to Knoxville, which is where we flew out of. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Alcoa Highway. It's a busy highway. Lots of people die on that highway. 5 lanes. Walkers die. People in cars die. Walkers. As we said, it was snowing. I decided to pay for the cheap parking. So we did stay in the hotel connected to the airport, the Hilton. It was super nice. Very perfect. Can't complain about anything. It was beautiful too. Chef's kiss. Went there straight after the wedding. Had my hair up and everything. But not the dress on. The dress was a muddy mess. My mom got it completely cleaned up in white though, which is insane that she was able to do that. Side note there. Anyway, back to the main story. We drove to the hotel, which was a few miles away. Or maybe a mile away. Maybe not a few. Maybe I'm exaggerating. It felt like 10 miles. So I don't really know. And it wasn't just snowing. It was at least a mile too. Pouring snow. Yeah. Pouring snow. We got up at like 3:30 to catch our flight. And no Ubers were up. No taxis were up. The shuttles didn't start running until like 5 or something later. And so we had to walk. And we had flip-flops on with socks and jackets. I had never flown before, and she was like, well, for the plane, just dress comfortably. Yeah, I did this. I was wearing the same. Yeah. And we had to walk across the highway. Couldn't hardly see because of the snow. We made it. Nightmare. And then once we got inside, we were soaking wet.
and frozen.
I went to the kiosk and bought you a hoodie.
Yeah. We, like, changed clothes a little bit. But I was pretty wet. Honestly, I didn't take the hoodie. You wore the hoodie because your sweatshirt was more wet than my jacket, and I could take my jacket off.
Yeah, that's right.
But my pants were soaked. And my socks were soaked, so we, like, took the socks off and put them in. Anyway, that was, like, the start, and I cried, and I remember looking at you, because I'm usually the person to, like, well, not really anymore, but at the beginning of our relationship, I was the person that, like, planned everything, because I'm the oldest, and I've always done that my whole life, and you're the baby, and you've always been, like, helped.
Mm-hmm. But I'm older than you, just like.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he got it. I was like, you have to get it together and get us there because I can't. And you did.
You shut down. And I handled it.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point we were marching through the snow and you're like, I can't go any further. And I said, yes, you can.
You did. And I was crying.
I felt like a drill
My tears
sergeant.
were freezing on my cheeks.
Yeah. And then we got to the beautiful island of St. Lucia and enjoyed our honeymoon.
Welcome to the island of St. Lucia.
It was a good time.
It was a good time. We took off our COVID bracelets showing that we got our vaccines. And they wouldn't let us leave the resort.
Bad idea.
So that was a whole mess. But we did, in fact, have our vaccines.
A pandemic honeymoon was difficult anyway.
Yeah, it was stressful because you had to have a negative COVID test and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. But then we came back and it was married life and it still is to this day.
Yep, it's been great. You know, we've had a lot of life happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot happens in a couple of years.
Yep.
It's been about a year and a half now.
Mm-hmm. It's been great.
Yeah, it's been great. No regrets.
Mm-mm. No regrets.
No regrets.
Yep. So what question were you going to ask me?
Oh, I had it and then I lost it. I would have remembered if you had asked me. Go ahead with your question.
If you could take a magic pill that would keep you alive forever, like say they come out with that in our lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
or some kind of medicine injection, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
would you partake?
Absolutely not. Unnatural.
It's unnatural.
Couldn't do it, no. I also just wouldn't want to live forever. I feel like whatever you get naturally is enough. I can't imagine extending that too long. Like the Holy Grail scene from Indiana Jones where the knight has lived for like 500 years. I couldn't be that guy.
Yeah.
So, what about you? Would you do that?
I'm scared of death.
Yeah.
So maybe.
You fear death.
I would be able to have control of my death.
Right.
So that would make me want it.
Right. Okay.
What about that?
I like that. I think that's a...
But not for any other reason. It would also be
At least
really
you're
cool
honest.
just to live beyond my time to see what changes.
But you'd have to
Like
watch all of
Yoda.
your loved ones die.
Not if they took the magic pill too.
Okay. So it's in abundance?
Yes, like say, I don't know. Maybe science will come out with something like that one day. It is ungodly, but maybe they will.
Oh, man. That's crazy. Okay, I remember mine. Would you rather never fart but burp twice as much, twice as loud, twice as often, or the opposite, never burp but fart twice as loud, fart twice as often?
I couldn't give up my farts. They bring me joy because they smell so horrible that they upset people. And that just makes me laugh
It upsets me.
so much.
You farted in the shower the other day, and that was like a war crime. I mean, that was a lot. That was a hot, steamy shower, and that thing came out just screaming, and that was a bad time.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a game we can play. So F, marry, kill. Master Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Chewbacca.
Marry Chewbacca.
Excellent answer.
Kill Master Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Kill Obi-Wan?
Mm-hmm.
And F Yoda?
Yeah.
That's your final answer?
That's
Okay. I would say F Chewbacca, marry Obi-Wan Kenobi, and kill Yoda.
Obi-Wan Kenobi would be a selfish lover, but I feel like Yoda has lived a lot of life, and he knows how to work a woman.
He's over 900. The Jedi take chastity vows. He doesn't know how to work a woman. Maybe. He walks with a cane.
I didn't think about the chastity vow.
He walks with a cane. Obi-Wan has a British accent. He's just very dashing. He was a general.
Yeah. F, Mary, kill Chad,
Ugh.
Nigel, or Leslie Chugel. This is Leslie Chugel, the only woman. So which is it?
I guess I would F Leslie Chugel.
Yeah.
I would probably marry Nigel Spungloon, I guess.
Why?
I don't know. I wouldn't want anything to do with Chad. I'd kill Chad.
Why?
Chad's dead.
What's
I
wrong
think it's
with
his
Chad?
beard and
he
his...
looks like Adam Sandler.
Don't think he looks anything like that.
An ugly Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler, if you ever tune into the podcast, please know that I don't think that. I think it's Chad's beard, and I think it's also the dot between his eyebrows.
He's Hindu.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Okay, fine. Well, I still wouldn't want anything to do with Chad. Sorry, Chad doesn't make the cut.
God. Okay.
Didn't enjoy that. Okay, I feel like I need to take a shower now. I feel filthy.
Oh, it's okay.
I didn't like that. I saw on the news recently where one of my favorite baseball players, Anthony Rizzo, he's out for the season with a concussion. So he still hangs out in the dugout, but he's not wearing his uniform. He's just in a hoodie. He's cheering on the team. And the umpire made a controversial call, said a guy was out or whatever, and he started hollering at him, and they threw him out of the game. He was ejected. He's not even playing.
That's stupid.
So that's kind of weird, but even the announcers were like, yeah, it was a bad call.
It's really random.
I know
Bring
it.
that up.
Oh, well, sorry. I just thought the conversation about Leslie Chugel and Chad had run its course.
I don't know. I just didn't understand. Like, where did you think of that?
I don't know. I thought about it
You've
earlier.
been pondering on it.
Pondering on it.
It's funny that you've been pondering on that. Like, that's not anything I would have imagined that would be in your brain.
You know I'm a baseball fan.
I know, but like, it's just like when you're staring off into space. I'm like, what's
That's what I'm thinking.
the other woman?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course.
And then he's thinking about baseball.
Guilty.
Honestly, in my brain, there's no telling. I don't even know.
Yeah. What do you think about when you stare off into space? Probably just dread.
Existential dread.
Yeah. Whoa, Frankie, you got fell.
F, marry, kill, Raggedy Ann, Annabelle.
Annabelle. Who's Annabelle?
It's a haunted doll.
Oh.
You don't even know who Annabelle is.
No.
Or Cabbage Patch.
I would kill Annabelle. I would kill Annabelle.
Good choice.
I would F. Was it Raggedy
Burping
Ann or Andy?
Ann.
Okay, I would F Ann. Raggedy Ann. And as long as she's not on the Raggedy Ann. And I guess I would marry the Cabbage Patch doll. But that's kind of gross because it's a kid. So I don't really like this premise.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make it like that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just say the baby grows up to be a young woman.
Yeah.
Like they do back in the day, you know, with princesses. And,
I mean, girls still grow up to be women now. In this day.
you know,
and
they
age.
used to sell their child basically for land.
Oh, like on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Okay, Game of Thrones. F, marry, kill. Tyrion, Jaime Lannister with one hand. Spoiler alert. And Theon, post castration. Spoiler alert.
We're gonna kill Theon because he's just a bad guy anyway.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick. Except for
Ridiculous dick.
Yeah,
And then I would probably marry little guy.
Tyrion.
And then I would F Jaime Lannister.
But he only has one hand.
So
I'm a big Tyrion fan, so I
he's a good guy. Jaime Lannister, I would not want to be married to him.
Oh, I'm sure he's a selfish lover. You want to talk about a selfish lover. Plus, you're not his sister, so he probably wouldn't be into
I was about to say, like, his sister's all over him, but he's a selfish, like, I don't know.
Spoilers, Game of Thrones.
F, marry, kill Winston, Frankie, and Lucy.
Oh, well, I'd kill Lucy. I would marry
I don't want to do this anymore.
No, that changed my mind. Hey, I've got a good one for you. I was so proud of you today. We were talking about how you said something about to assess a patient's, state of mind. One question you might ask them is, who were the last 5 presidents?
I know, I killed that.
You knew the last 6 presidents. And for those of you who aren't aware, Sarah's not I'm a student of history,
You can just say it.
Political student, and Sarah's not, so
You can just say
she's
it.
not familiar with a lot of presidential or historical stuff. So I was very impressed that you knew that. I was like, dang,
I have the historical knowledge of a kindergartner.
I wouldn't go that far. But either way, I was very impressed with your knowledge of that.
Thank you.
Shout out.
I was surprised. I felt like I was possessed by somebody that knew. It was just coming out of my mouth, and I was like, what?
Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Right.
The deep depths.
Could you do it again now for the pod?
I'm nervous.
Who's the current president?
Biden.
Keep going.
Then it was Trump. Then it was Obama. Then Obama. And then it was,
Okay.
and then it was George Bush Jr.
Yeah.
And then it was Bill Clinton. And then it was George Bush Sr.
Yep, George H.W. Bush, George Homework Bush.
It was the one before, the one that rode the motorcycle.
What? He didn't ride a motorcycle?
George Bush Jr. rode a motorcycle.
Oh, okay. Well, who's before H.W.? You said it earlier. You knew it.
I didn't say it.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
What is his name?
Ronnie.
My mind is blinking. I think it's because I'm nervous.
You're good. It was Ronald Reagan.
That's right. How did I know that? I don't know.
I don't remember. You really pulled that one out. I was like, dang, go off.
God.
And then before him, of course, was Jimmy Carter. Of course. So.
Would you still love me if every night before bed you had to nibble off a little piece of my planner's wart on my foot?
Oh, God. Yeah, I would. I wouldn't enjoy it, but I would still love it.
You'd do it?
I'd do it if I had to. I'm not going to. Would you
so
still
sweet.
Would you still love me if it was like on 51st dates where you do I woke up every morning and I was like, where am I? Who are you?
That would be really hard, but I would do it.
Thank you.
I'd probably get angry sometimes. I keep thinking about that poop I took earlier because it was a ghost wipe.
Random. That was random.
Are you mocking me? He likes to mock.
I like to mock it. You said it was a big turd in a ghost wipe. Is that
It
right?
was long. I almost took a picture of it.
Why is it always the big ones that are ghost wipes?
It was like so long and in a perfect line all together. Usually they break.
Oh, it was uninterrupted.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was shockingly long.
That's the kind that if
It
I
was
ever
the second poop of the day.
That's the kind that if I ever, which I've never done, took a crap on someone's porch and lit it on fire, I would hope it's just a big honker like that. Just a dirt snake. You know what I mean?
I hate that term.
What, honker?
Dirt snake.
Oh.
Cringe. Cringy pingy.
You like it, you'll use it.
Cringe.
Your mother told me that term. She sent me a TikTok with that in it.
I know. That's the most disturbing part of the story. My neck, my back. If every time we greeted anybody new, like, not necessarily new, but anybody for the first time of the day that we had seen them, like, it resets every 24 hours.
Right.
So say we greeted your mom, and I have to say this every time I greet somebody. Bussy clean, bussy tight. Would you still be with me?
I mean, yeah, I'd still be with you.
Would you let me see people around you?
Yeah, I guess so. I would just tell them that you...
What would you say?
I would just tell them that you have, special needs.
Special needs.
It's something you have to do.
Bussy clean, bussy tight.
I don't like that at all. Did you notice on your live, you were talking to the chiropractor and you said that you had pain in your bussy with a B as in Bravo, and he clearly did not grasp.
Is that what it was?
Yes. He's like, I handle those all the time, man. And I'm like, I don't think you know what you're talking about.
I thought he knew.
I don't think so.
You're right, though. He didn't know.
He's like, I handle those all the time. I got 5 kids. And I'm like, ain't none of them come
That
out of a
makes sense
bussy,
why he
dude.
said that.
Yeah, none of them come out of a bussy.
I was like, does he do stuff to his kids?
Yeah, I definitely think he misheard you there.
Okay.
Which, I mean...
My mom has misheard me say that, too.
I think it's a small fraction of the population, and they're definitely all very young, who are familiar with the term bussy.
I do not say the P word. It is dirty. But I will say the B word.
You don't like that word.
I don't like it at all. Along with the C word.
Well, yeah, I don't say the C word now that you mentioned it.
I've said it once.
That's a dirty word.
I almost got in a party fight.
I remember you telling me about that.
And she drank all the vodka out of the bottle I brought.
You bring a drink to a party. You're not supposed to touch someone else's drink. You don't take their stuff. Now, you can ask, but you don't just take it.
Mm.
So that was a party foul.
She was like, it was on the counter. It was free grabs. And, like, people were holding me back. I don't remember much because it was bad. Bad
what
night.
Position were you in life where you showed up to this party with a bottle of vodka, no mixer, no nothing, and you were like, this is all for me. Don't touch it.
It was after the pharmacology
school.
test, the pharmacology final.
Mm-hmm.
And I made an A in that class. And I was going to rip it. I was tearing it up.
Right.
Tearing it up too much. It was not worth it at all. Not even one bit. Nope.
Would you say that's the most you've ever drank in one?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oof.
My nose is itchy.
It was terrible.
I
hate vodka.
Sick. Oof, that always makes me sick.
Ugh, it's making me want to throw up thinking about it. Yeah, I didn't really have a lot of wild times, but, like, I guess my wildness started sophomore year and really went up until, like, halfway through senior year, and then it just, by the time I met you, it was over.
Right.
So it was kind of short-lived compared to some.
Right, well, some people never grow out of it.
I don't like it. I feel empty. Here we go again with the deep existential dread thoughts and, like, deep...
Right.
I'm not trying to make this podcast gloom and doom.
Right.
I'm going through a period of life right now that is kind of... It feels gloom and doom, but it isn't really.
Right.
So, it's my IUD, honestly. I really think it's the IUD because I'm not normally like this. To this extent.
To this extent.
Yeah. And it's been 5 years, and so the hormone levels are changing, and I was told this by my gynecologist, and, like, last month I had a period of time where for, like, 2 whole days I couldn't hardly get out of bed. The only reason I got out of bed was to let my dogs pee and to pee myself. Not pee myself, yourself? To pee in the toilet.
You said you peed yourself.
I know, it sounded like... But, which really wasn't much because I wasn't drinking or eating anything, and they were, like, just sleeping with me, too, which was so nice, which isn't usual. I think they could tell something was wrong. But...
They're very into...
That's the only time I've ever been depressed to that level. Like, where you can't function. And you were going at work all day, so you really didn't see it.
That's me.
But, that happened, which was weird, and that can be caused by the IUD in some women. This month it kind of had the same effect, but not like depression. It just, I felt almost out of my body, like, so anxious. Like, I felt like I was hungry, but I had ate. Like, I felt like that, like, heart palpitation type feeling constantly for, like, 2 or 3 days. And, like, I've had a meltdown. So, I really do think it's the IUD. And if it happens again next month, I'm getting it out.
Get it out!
And I'm going straight on birth control.
Get out of me!
Because we ain't having babies anytime soon.
Can't have it. Hey, I appreciate you sharing that, and I definitely think that, women should make choices about their bodies. On a related note, what do you call, I just made this up, what do you call an elderly gynecologist?
What?
A gynosaur. Oh, shoot.
That's so stupid. That's such a dad joke.
I liked it.
It was actually better than mine, though. Like, I tell you some jokes.
Yeah, you do.
Sometimes I make up these jokes and they're not good.
No, they're not. They're terrible. Tell them about that time that you were in church and you did that little thing where you shuffle your
Oh, the fortune
folded,
cookie.
yeah, the fortune cookie thing that's like a diamond, and you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you open a flap. And tell them about that.
I did the fortune cookie, and I did it to the pastor's wife. I was like, "You want to play?" She's like, "Oh, sure." She was so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
She's like the sweetest woman I know, honestly, on the earth. And she was my sister's kindergarten teacher, but she just happened to land on the number. They all said something pretty terrible, honestly. I don't even know. Like, I put the most crude shit in it, and it said, "Go." Why didn't I change the story or what it said? I don't know. But it said, "Go suck your mom's big toe." And I read it out loud. And she said, "Oh my," and walked off.
Did you ever talk to her again?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good.
We still talked. And another time that was super awkward was I have this figure in my Bible.
I know what you're talking about.
The tattoo man. It's just a really bizarre picture.
It's
I'll
like,
find it and we'll put it on the screen.
It's like a bookmark.
It's a bookmark, but it's something strange that you wouldn't normally have in your Bible. But it fell out of my Bible, and she picked it up and looked at it and handed it to me. And we looked each other in the eyes.
How old were you?
I don't know, probably like 13. Old enough to know.
But young enough to be concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that.
Do you have any stories like similar to that?
I mean, I grew up in church, and I'm sure I did something
But you just can't think
cringy.
of.
Nothing off the top of my head.
Do you ever reflect on what you used to do as a kid and you're just like, God,
Yeah, oh,
I hate
definitely.
myself.
Like the way I used to dress. Oof. We were unlucky enough to have come up during a really bad fashion time.
The 2000s.
Yeah, terrible.
It really is.
I think our school saved us by implementing a dress code.
Same.
Because if not, I would have been just a mess.
Yeah. Same. I used to wear huge earrings.
Oh, really?
Gigantic earrings.
And
That
now
was my
you,
thing.
now you really don't. I've never seen you wear anything like that.
Mm-mm. I used to be super stylish, I will say. Like, I used to always look really good in high school. Because there was a time when the dress code was lifted in high school and we could wear whatever we wanted.
True.
It was so liberating.
That was about, excuse me,
Junior year, I think, is when it happened.
junior year. Thank you.
Yeah, and I always looked really good, but I think I was just excited to wear normal clothes. But I've, like, lost that sense of style, but I think I'm getting it back.
Yeah, you had a really cool outfit today. I liked it.
Thank you.
Really cool.
Thank you. That's sweet.
I don't ever wear anything particularly impressive. I always just wear t-shirts.
Taylor has a new fascination, this is random, has a new fascination with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Huge fan. I'm actually a subscribing member to his podcast, Arnold's Pump Club. I'm a Pump Club member.
Yep. If you want gains, you have to eat calories.
Well, you do. That's a fact.
He had something really inspirational that he said on that podcast you showed me, though, about, like, setting unrealistic expectations. You can't set unrealistic expectations and expect to be happy in life.
His podcast, I will say, is very much, you would think that it's geared toward physical health because he's, former Mr. Olympia. But he really, a lot of it is geared toward just mental well-being, just positive thinking, good eating habits, realistic expectations, realistic habits. So I definitely think it's a very palatable, snackable podcast, and it's some fantastic advice.
Mm.
It's only, the episodes are only like 5 or 10 minutes long, so you genuinely can just
That is nice.
crank it out on the toilet, crank it out on the way to work, just whatever, just listen to it, consume it, think about it. It's good stuff.
You spend an ungodly amount of time on the toilet.
Oh, I could listen to War and Peace on the toilet. I hang out there.
He'll be like, we'll be about to go somewhere, and he'll be like, oh, I gotta go poop.
Be
And
a
I'll be
man.
like, oh, God, no. It's gonna be 30 minutes now.
Be a man.
Pinch it off.
When you gotta go, you gotta go. I'm not
But
gonna
you
hold
just sit there. You don't get hemorrhoids.
it. That's not how that happens.
It does. The gravity sucks your colon out of your ass.
Really?
Yep.
Doesn't your grandmother have one of those contraptions where you strap yourself in and you're suspended upside down?
Mhm.
I should have used that when we were over there last.
Mhm.
Because I would love that.
It's good for your spine.
Yeah, my spine would love it.
She has debilitating back pain.
Really? Oof. Go.
From being a nurse, probably.
Yeesh.
And she used to work in a sewing factory, so she's never had like a job where she has like good posture, good ergonomics.
It's bad.
Yeah. It's really bad. This was a delicious treat. Clearly Canadian.
It's clearly Canadian.
It's clearly Canadian because
it-
it's just look at it. It looks Canadian.
Is it made in Canada?
Looks like Justin Bieber.
I believe it says product of Canada on the bottle. Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger would not drink this. Too much sugar.
It's got way too much sugar. I will say I would prefer water.
Is it Schwarzenegger or is it Schwarzenegger?
I think it's Schwarzenegger.
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 Schwarzenegger bomb.
Probably similar in origin, the word. Because he's from Austria and Jaeger is, I think, some sort of a, German descent drink or maybe Danish or something. I don't know. Can't remember where it's from.
If you had to pick for your breath to smell like a human corpse or a pile of shit all the time, which one would you choose?
Well, according to you, my breath already smells like a pile of shit all the time, so I guess I would just go with that one and not change anything.
Sorry.
You get really mean
know.
about my breath.
I think you have a cavity.
I bought tongue scrapers. I've really tried to be on top of my oral
You brush your teeth
smell.
is a thing.
Yeah, and you don't even brush your, not to out you, you don't even brush your teeth as
At
much
night.
as I do. I brush my teeth
skip
twice a
night
day,
sometimes.
every day. I never skip.
Guess who's never had a cavity?
You've never had
I've never had a cavity.
I had one, but the tooth grew without any enamel. They said it was inevitable.
Yeah, it's just an excuse.
Oh, for the love of God.
I think you have another cavity.
You think so?
Yep.
Because it smells bad.
Not right now, but it has. In the past, it's been fine lately.
But if
whatever you're doing is working.
if I had a cavity, would it not still smell? The cavity didn't go away. So therefore I don't have a cavity.
Could be. That's a good argument. We'll see.
Thank you.
Don't ever buy a carbonated drink for the podcast again.
I think we probably will. There's a whole wide world of carbonated drinks.
I think I have GERD.
I also didn't think these were carbonated. I thought it was just fancy water in a glass bottle. I didn't know it was flavored. Well, I knew it was flavored, but I didn't know it was sugary, I should say.
Sugar.
I'm sorry, Arnold.
Yes, please. Who's right here? Yeah.
Seems like a good stopping point.
Must be boog on the brain. That's got Frank feeling this way.
What song is that?
It bleeds blue, black, and blue, but it loves Frank so good, and Boone can't get enough.
Oh, I know this song was on The Voice.
Must be. It's a song by Rihanna, Live on the Brain.
Oh, really? Okay, never mind.
Taylor also does this thing where he's like, what is the song? And it will literally be like, baby, 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 oh.
Right.
And you're like, it's baby. And he's like, really?
I'm like, no, that's not it.
But sometimes I think you're serious. Like, sometimes you're joking, but like at first I think you were serious.
Right. I've been told that people can't tell when I'm kidding.
I think that time you were being serious though. That one time. Like, it's happened a few times.
I mean, I don't have that one on my iPod.
And I think once I like started clowning you for it, it became a joke.
Right. Sarah will often get lyrics wrong on a song though.
No.
So
Let's tell them about Red.
The song by Taylor Swift, Red.
Is it Red or is it?
No, I'm sorry, Style.
Style, that was it.
Which I'm a huge Swift fan. Where she says, "You got that James Dean daydream look in your eye, and I've got that Brad Pitt classic thing that you like."
It's not Brad Pitt.
This gets you so
It's a
angry.
red lip classic thing because she wears a red lip all the time.
Okay, but she just was talking about James Dean, and now she's talking about Brad Pitt.
And
Why would she go from talking about
lip classic. I've pulled it up on the
Why
internet.
would she? I've
and
found
shown
sources that say Brad Pitt. We're not going to start this
You
now.
have never found a source,
Why would she go from
Bring
James?
it up.
Why would she talk about James Dean and then talk about lipstick? She's talking James Dean, then she's talking Brad Pitt.
You said you found a source. I have yet to see it. You have not shown this to me.
There's sources out there that say it. You
pulled
can put
up
anything on the
their
internet.
lyrics off Apple.
Anyone can change that. It's like Wikipedia.
No, you can't.
It's Brad Pitt.
Oh, no.
Agree to disagree. I hear Brad Pitt every time.
Mm-mm. You're wrong. Wrong-o.
Alright, we'll see.
No, we had this argument on the Grinch, too, because he says, my friend Amy showed me this, the sun is out and the snow is bitching. And you
The
said,
powder's bitching.
The powder's bitching, that's what it was. And you were like, no way. And I pulled it up and showed you.
And I was
now
like,
you believe
daggum,
me.
sure enough, yeah. The sun is out, the powder's bitching. I love that.
He says that sun is out, the powder's bitching.
Your friend Amy showed you that? That's surprising. I wouldn't have thought you liked that.
And it's a children's movie. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
Well, that movie gets away with some stuff, though.
Yeah. You can't do that stuff nowadays.
Do you remember when those two old ladies find him at the fair when he's all grown up and he was like, "You're still alive"?
Yes.
The only reason I say that's surprising is because Amy's, I wouldn't think she would curse and say that something is bitching.
No.
So
Well,
that's the only
she
reason.
has her edgy side.
Right. I guess we all do.
Anyway, we
Anyway.
appreciate you joining us for Stu and Spanky this week. We will be back next week. Same time, Wednesday at 10 a.m. is when we premiere, but, you know, we're always here for you to listen and to be here and can talk to us, too, in the comments. We read the comments. We love interacting with you guys. But thank you so much. Please hit that subscribe button. Come back next week. Wonder what drink we're going to try next week? I don't know. If you have any suggestions, put it in the comments because we're running out of drinks to try at Kroger. There's
Please.
only so many brands.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.